Rain needles against the apartment windows, a constant whisper that seeps through the glass and settles inside Maya Reed's chest. Her small workspace smells of coffee and developer chemicals, the kind of scent that clings to her clothes and hair no matter how often she showers. The desk light pools over a scatter of photo prints, her camera, and one small picture lying face down beside an unfinished mug. She flips it over again, even though she's already done it a dozen times. Black and white, grain rough, edges curled. A woman stands in front of a half-burned house, smoke still ghosting from the roofline. The woman's eyes, cold, unreadable, draw Maya in like a magnet she can't resist. The photograph showed up this morning. No name, no note. Just slipped under her door in a plain envelope. Maya thought it might be part of an anonymous art submission for the magazine she edits photos for, but when she asked around, nobody knew anything. Now, late at night with the rain closing around the city, the image feels like a live wire on her desk. She rubs the back of her neck, glances toward the reflection in the window. Her own eyes stare back, tired, rimmed red from another sleepless night. She's been fighting the same creeping unease for months now. Things at the edge of sight. Whispers and plumbing and wind. She promised her therapist the medication was helping, but she's not sure anymore. Her phone buzzes. A message from Ben, her editor, and once, for a while, the man she almost let in. Don't stay too late. Storm's rough tonight. She types back just finishing up and forces a smile she doesn't feel. The photograph waits, patient. Maya pulls it close and studies the background. Charred timbers, a child's tricycle lying on its side. She leans closer, heart giving a small kick. Something faint glimmers in one of the broken windows. She grabs her magnifier and brings it over the image. There, behind the woman, a faint shape, a blurred face half hidden by glare. The proportions feel wrong, like the reflection is watching. She tells herself it's an exposure trick. Damage. Coincidence. But when she turns the photo over, she notices faint pencil writing she hadn't seen before, "You were there." The words run cold through her. She drops the print, breath catching in her throat. The picture lands face up, and for an instant the woman's eyes seem to look straight through her. Maya crouches, picks it up again, whispers, "What does that mean?" Her laptop pings softly as she scans the photo, uploads it to an image search database. While the program churns, she grabs her coat and steps out. The city feels half drowned. Rain makes halos around every light. She walks quickly down 4th Avenue to a narrow storefront with a flickering neon sign that reads Evergreen Photo Lab. Marta, the owner, looks up from behind the counter, gray hair twisted into a bun, magnifiers perched on her nose. "Maya Reed," Marta says, grinning. "If you're out in this, it must be something good or something cursed." "Maybe both." Maya slides the envelope across the counter. "Can I use your scanner?" "I need a clean high-res copy." Marta raises a brow. "What's the rush?" "Someone sent it to me. I need to know why." The old woman hums and flips the power switch. The scanner hums to life, spilling pale light. "You know, I grew up around here," Marta says. "Some of these old houses look familiar." She squints at the photo. "Wait, This one looks like that place out by the river. The one that burned in the 70s. Maya's pulse stumbles. You're sure? Oh yeah. Nasty fire. Whole family gone, far as I remember. Police said electrical, but folks whispered otherwise. Cults, possession, all that nonsense. The scanner beeps. Maya transfers the file to her drive. Thanks, Marta. Be careful, Chica, Marta says. Old ghosts love company. Maya half smiles, steps back into the wet dark. By the time she returns home, thunder rolls deep across the sound. She plugs the drive into her laptop and pulls up the scan. The image sharpens, grains resolving into detail, the woman's scorched dress, the tricycle, the reflection. She zooms in, adjusting contrast. The faint shape in the window clears. A little girl, maybe 8, stares straight into the lens. Maya's breath catches. That face, those eyes, she knows them. She drags an old childhood photo from her phone's album, lines them side by side. Identical. The girl in the photo is her. Her stomach twists. Impossible. She was adopted at 9. Her foster parents told her almost nothing about before. She remembers fragments, heat, shouting, the taste of smoke, but nothing solid. A knock at the door startles her. 3 slow taps. She freezes. No one should be here. She edges to the peephole. Empty hallway, light flickering. She opens the door just enough to see a plain envelope lying on the mat. Her name scrawled across it in pencil. Inside, another photograph. Color this time. A man standing in front of a burned-out house, different from the first. His face hidden in shadow. The same rusted tricycle nearby. Written on the back, find him. Her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. Do you remember the fire? Maya's hands shake as she types. Who is this? No reply. She paces the small apartment, heartbeat too loud. The air feels charged, wrong. In the window's reflection, her own outline seems doubled, a half second out of sync. She squeezes her eyes shut, whispers, I'm not losing it again. But deep down she knows she might be. She grabs her keys, throws on her coat, and drives. The rain thickens into silver cords across the windshield. She heads south, past the port, past the silent cranes and warehouses, until the city lights fade. Signs flicker by, Duwamish Industrial District, River Road. Finally she spots it, a narrow side track disappearing into trees. She slows, tires crunching gravel. On the other side, the ruins of a house crouch against the hillside, half devoured by vines. She parks, kills the headlights, steps into the storm. Water streams down her face, the flashlight beam trembling in her hand. The place smells of wet ash and rot. She moves through the wreckage, fallen beams, melted glass, skeletal furniture. Near the back wall, something metallic glints under debris. She digs until her fingers find the edge of a rusted tin box. The latch gives after a moment. Inside, plastic-sleeved photos. She lifts them carefully. Each shows the same woman from the first image, sometimes with the little girl, her younger self, sometimes alone, always near the burning house. In the last photo, the woman's face is streaked with soot, eyes wild, and a child's handprint darkens the corner. A sound behind her, soft, deliberate. Maya spins, light cutting through rain. No one. Just water dripping from broken rafters. Then, faint and close, a whisper, Maya. Her mouth dries. Who's there? Silence. She turns toward the doorway. The whisper again, almost tender, find him. Her beam catches movement at the tree line. A small shape, pale, childlike, darting between branches. Maya's heart stutters. She takes a step forward. Wait! The figure runs. She crashes after it, branches whipping her arms, mud sucking at her boots. Come back, she shouts, but the sound drowns in the storm. After a few moments, the shape vanishes completely. Panting, soaked, she stumbles back toward the ruin. When she reaches her car, the driver's side door hangs open. She's sure she locked it. On the seat lies another photograph. This one shows her standing exactly where she is now, at the burned house, flashlight raised, rain frozen in mid-fall. Ink glistens wet on the back. The rain ran down her arm and into her sleeve as she turned the picture over again, the ink still damp, her name written along the edge like a signature from someone watching close by. For a long minute she simply stared at it, trying to steady her breath. She looked up and scanned the dark slope above the road, the tree line, the half-collapsed ruin behind her. Nothing moved except the thin sheets of water falling through the beam of her flashlight. She told herself whoever had left it must already be gone, but her chest stayed tight as if eyes were still on her. She climbed into the car, slammed the door, and locked it twice. The photograph lay on the passenger seat, gleaming faintly in the dashboard light. She started the engine, turned the heater on high, and sat there listening to the wipers thud. She wanted to drive straight home and pretend none of this existed, yet every part of her leaned toward the picture. The man's outline was clearer now in the glow from the dash. Tall, shoulders slightly bent forward as if braced against wind. His face was a blur of shadow, but his posture seemed familiar, an angle she recognized from old family snapshots she had never understood. She pulled out her phone, checked the time, 2:47 a.m. Ben had texted an hour ago, "You safe?" She almost replied, then stopped. What would she say? Found a ghost of my childhood by the river, everything's fine? Instead she took another photo of the print and ran a quick reverse image search. The signal out here flickered, spinning for minutes before offering anything. A single archived article from 1977, Seattle Daily Chronicle, Mill Hollow fire kills family of 3. Her finger froze halfway through scrolling. The story was brief, cause unknown, remains never fully identified. Neighbors claimed to have seen a man leaving the house before the flames took hold, but no one ever found him. She stared at the date again, her mind stumbling over the numbers. 1977, she was born in 1984, at least according to her adoption file. Yet the child in that black and white photo, the one who looked like her, stood beside that same house before it burned. The heater hummed, her reflection pale in the windshield. Maybe this was what relapse felt like, memory bending around coincidence until both seemed true. She rubbed her eyes, then put the car in gear. The road back toward the city wound narrow and slick through the trees. She drove slow, headlights cutting tunnels in the fog. For a while she thought she was alone out there, then she saw another pair of lights in her rear mirror, distant but steady, following each curve. Her throat tightened. She kept to the speed limit, refusing to look again, but the lights stayed with her until the first faint shapes of warehouses appeared through the rain. When she finally turned onto the main road, the other car veered off toward the river and disappeared. She told herself it was nothing, another traveler, but she still drove home with her hands shaking. Inside the apartment the air felt too still. She left the door chain locked and set the new photograph on the table beside the first one. 2 images of different houses, same tricycle, same feeling of being watched. She opened her laptop and enlarged both scans, placing them side by side. Something clicked in her chest. The pattern of trees in the background was almost identical, though the houses were miles apart. She traced their outlines, overlaid one transparency against the other. The frames matched perfectly, as if both houses had been built on the same plan, or as if someone wanted her to think they were. A faint hum came from the radiator, then a soft knock, not at the door this time but inside the wall. She stepped back, pulse skipping. It came again, deliberate, 3 slow taps. The sound pulled her toward the kitchen, where the old pipes ran behind the plaster. She pressed her ear against the wall. For a heartbeat she heard nothing, then a whisper so faint she almost thought it was memory, Maya. She stumbled back, hand clamped over her mouth. The lights flickered. She grabbed her phone, recorded a few seconds of the sound, played it back, only rain and static. By morning she hadn't slept. She walked to the magazine office under a pale gray sky that looked run out from the storm. Ben was already there, leaning on her desk. "You look like hell," he said. "Thanks. You working on that historical spread? The one with the old photo?" She hesitated. "Yeah. Something like that." "Good. I need a teaser by Friday," he straightened, concern softening his voice. "Seriously, Maya, you okay?" She almost told him. Instead she said, "Fine. Just tired." The rest of the day blurred. She retouched ad photos, answered emails, smiled in the right places. But every so often she felt someone pass behind her, breath brushing the back of her neck, though each time she turned there was no one there. By 5 she couldn't take the office noise anymore. She told Ben she was heading to archives. The Seattle Public Archives sat in a building that smelled of old paper and damp. She explained what she was looking for, a fire at Mill Hollow Road, late 70s. The clerk disappeared into stacks and returned with a box of microfilm. She scrolled until her eyes burned. Police reports, fire chief statements, grainy photos of charred beams. One article listed the victims: woman identified as Elizabeth Moran, age 32, daughter Anna Moran, age 8, husband presumed deceased, body unconfirmed. The names meant nothing. But when she saw the accompanying photo of Elizabeth Moran, her stomach turned, the same woman from the first picture, the one standing in front of the burned house. She leaned closer. The caption under the girl read Anna Moran. Anna. She whispered it under her breath, trying the sound. The clerk glanced over. You find what you need? Not yet, she said. She printed the article, folded it into her bag, and left. Outside, dusk smeared the sky. She called the adoption agency listed on her old records, half afraid they wouldn't pick up. An automated voice put her on hold. When a real person finally answered, Maya gave her name and request. After a pause, the woman said, I'm sorry, Ms. Reed, most files from that period were destroyed in a storage flood. But if you want, I can check the handwritten index. Maya waded through the clicks of a keyboard, the hum of background voices. Then the woman said, That's strange. Your intake form says you were found in a shelter on the south side in 1984, but the preliminary note lists you as Anna M. something, the rest smudged. Maya gripped the phone. Can you email that to me? We're not allowed to send originals, but you can request a certified copy. She thanked her, hung up, and sat on the curb outside the building as streetlights blinked on. Anna M. Anna Moran. The name fit into her like a missing bone. Her phone buzzed. Another message from the unknown number, he's still alive. She typed, Who is? No answer. By the time she reached home again, night had thickened. She dropped her bag, turned on every light, and poured herself whiskey she didn't even like. The laptop still showed the 2 scanned photographs. She zoomed in on the shadowed man's outline, adjusted brightness. Beneath the blur, a faint scar traced his cheek, a small half-moon shape. She had seen that scar once before, in a childhood flash her therapist told her not to trust, a man kneeling beside her, whispering that everything would burn so they could start over. The glass trembled in her hand. The knock came again, 3 slow taps at the door this time. She approached with the caution of a sleepwalker, peered through the peephole. No one. Only the hall light stuttering. She unlatched the chain and opened the door an inch. Another envelope lay on the floor. She shut the door behind her before opening it. Inside was a single scrap torn from a contact sheet, a sequence of 4 photos printed small. In the first frame, a man lights a match. In the second, he tosses it. The third shows the beginning of flame. The fourth is almost black, but at the bottom edge her own small silhouette appears, running toward the camera. She dropped it as if it were hot. The images slid under the table. She crouched to pick them up, and when she straightened, she wasn't alone. Someone stood in the hallway reflection, just beyond the kitchen light, a tall figure in a coat, face obscured by shadow. Her heart jerked so violently she couldn't breathe. She turned around. Nothing. The hall was empty. The reflection showed only her. The phone vibrated again. Stop looking. She backed against the wall, the phone still glowing in her hand. Her pulse roared in her ears. She whispered to the empty air, "What do you want from me?" For a moment there was silence, and then her own voice came back from somewhere deep inside the apartment, soft and low, "To remember." The word hangs in the air, soft and wrong, as if it has been waiting years to escape. Maya freezes, her heartbeat filling the room. She turns slowly, scanning the walls, the open doorway, the dim reflection in the kitchen glass. There's no one. Yet she can feel something close, a pull behind her ribs, a memory moving just out of reach. She whispers again, "Who are you?" The silence after feels heavy. She looks down at the contact sheet, at the sequence of flames, the small figure of a girl running toward the camera. Her throat tightens. She sits on the floor, forces herself to breathe, and opens her laptop. The two scanned photographs still glow on the screen: the burned houses, the woman's eyes, the child that looks like her. She overlays them again, but this time, something new appears. Hidden under the layers of soot and blur, faint outlines line up like a pattern, numbers, coordinates maybe. She adjusts the contrast until the digits emerge clear enough to read: 47.5011, minus 122.2477. She opens a map. The coordinates mark a spot south of the city, near a stretch of forest by the water. She knows the place. It's part of the old industrial district, closed off for redevelopment. She hesitates. Every instinct says stop, but another part of her, the one that's been half asleep since childhood, stirs awake. She grabs her coat and the photographs, leaves before she can change her mind. Outside, dawn bleeds gray across the clouds. The city still sleeps, streets shining from last night's rain. She drives through empty intersections, the radio off, the sound of the tires on wet asphalt like a steady heartbeat. The coordinates lead her to a narrow access road, chained off. She parks by the barrier and continues on foot. Mist curls low between the trees, wrapping the ruins of old warehouses. She passes a collapsed sign that once read Evergreen Mill, letters rusted and half gone. At the end of the road, near the waterline, she finds another burned structure, smaller this time, no roof, only foundation and a single wall left standing. She kneels in the mud, runs her fingers over the scorched concrete. It feels oddly familiar, like skin she has touched before. Then she sees it, etched faintly into the base of the wall, a mark shaped like a crescent scar. The same shape as the one on the man's face in the photograph. Footsteps behind her. She turns sharply. A man stands a few yards away, tall, gray-bearded, his coat soaked through. His eyes are pale and uncertain, as if he has been walking through the same dream for too long. "You found it," he says quietly. Her voice comes out brittle. "Who are you?" He takes a step closer, hands visible, palms open. "My name's Samuel Moran." The name hits like a heartbeat stopped mid-beat. "Moran," she repeats, barely breathing. "You are Anna," he says. "Anna Moran. My daughter." The world seems to fold inward. She stares at him, at the lines around his eyes, the faint scar. The shape of his face mirrors the shadowed outline from the photograph. "That's impossible," she whispers. "You died. They said you all died." He shakes his head. "Your mother did. I tried to save you. I thought you didn't make it," his voice trembles. "They said the house collapsed before anyone got out. I searched for years, but by the time I found out you'd been adopted, you were already gone." She feels her knees weaken. "You sent the photographs." He nods slowly. "I didn't know any other way to reach you. The agency refused to open the records. I wanted you to remember, before it's too late." "Too late for what?" "For me," he says, voice breaking. "The cancer's spread. I have months, maybe weeks. I needed you to know it wasn't your fault. You didn't start the fire, Anna. Your mother did. She thought she could cleanse the voices. Maya closes her eyes. Fragments rush back, smoke, her mother's hands shaking, a match flaring, her father shouting. She remembers running, hiding behind the tricycle, the roar of heat. And then nothing. When she opens her eyes again, tears blur the edges of the world. I thought I made it up, she says. They said I was unstable, that the memories weren't real. They were, he says. Just buried deep enough to survive. A weak sun pushes through the mist, spilling thin gold light over the ruins. For the first time in years, the noise in her head quiets. She looks at him, this stranger who is not a stranger, and says, "Why the photographs?" He hesitates. "I wanted you to see the truth before you saw me. Sometimes memory needs an image to unlock the rest." She laughs softly, brokenly. It worked. They stand together for a while, neither speaking. The wind carries the smell of wet ash and salt from the bay. She helps him back to her car, and they drive to the waterfront. The city wakes around them slowly, ferries moving through fog, gulls circling above the piers. In the quiet of the parked car, he takes a folded photograph from his pocket. It's the first one, but clean now, restored. He hands it to her. "Keep it. Proof that we survived." She studies it, her mother in front of the house, smoke curling behind her. And there, faint but visible, her father's silhouette in the window, watching. Maya exhales, long and shaky. "What happens now?" "Whatever you want," he says. The past is only one frame. She drives him to a care facility on the edge of the city. They don't talk much, just the sound of rain starting again. When they arrive, he thanks her and says quietly, "Don't let the fire be the only thing you remember." She nods, unable to answer. Weeks later, when the leaves start turning, she visits his grave near the old mill road. She brings her camera, takes a single photograph of the site, the trees bending over the earth, the light filtering through like forgiveness. She doesn't send it to anyone. She tucks it into her notebook beside the others. Sometimes, at night, she still hears faint tapping in the pipes, like someone knocking from another room, but it no longer frightens her. She whispers back, "I remember," and the sound fades. When the rain comes, she opens the window and lets it wash the city clean, the air sharp and cold. The lost photograph lies on her desk, edges worn, faces almost faded, but the story behind it finally still. She picks up her camera again, adjusts the focus, and for the first time in years, takes a picture of herself in the glass, not the child she was, not the ghost she chased, but the woman who remained.